Hakan slowly removed his shirt. He placed his hand over his chest. Suddenly, a beam of light burst from a strange mark on his skin. As he pulled, a gray shirt was drawn out of his own body, as if it had been hidden inside him all along. This was no ordinary shirt. It was an ancient, mysterious, divine object. Once worn, the body became completely invulnerable. Weapons could not pierce it. Fire could not burn it. Even a bullet fired directly at the forehead would cause no harm. The hottest flames could be held in the hand without pain. But not everyone could wear this shirt. Only those who carried the blood of the Guardian of Istanbul were worthy of it. And the young man you are watching was the last Guardian alive. His name was Hakan. Hakan was nothing special. He wasted his days fooling around, doing absolutely nothing with his life. Every single day, he dreamed of winning the lottery, dreamed of escaping his miserable reality. In truth, he spent his days helping his father, running a small family antique shop, a dull, repetitive life, with no future in sight. That was until one day, a beautiful woman walked into the store and changed everything. She took out an old album. She said she was looking to buy a particular shirt. The symbols and images instantly felt familiar to Hakan. His father carefully examined the album, then shook his head. He said their store did not have such an item, but Hakan interrupted him. Yes, they did. He claimed the shirt was stored in their basement. His father immediately denied it. The woman said nothing more. She simply left her business card on the counter, then turned and walked away. But Hakan could not let this go. The woman looked wealthy, and in Hakan's mind, this was his golden opportunity, a chance to finally change his life. He begged his father to let him check the basement. Instead, his father became furious and kicked him out of the store. That night, Hakan called his best friend. Together, they sneaked back into the shop. They broke into the basement. Hakan stole the mysterious shirt and contacted the woman. After inspecting it, she made an offer, a massive amount of money. Hakan was thrilled. He did not care where the shirt came from. He did not care what secrets it held. All he could see was money and a new life. But just as the deal was about to be completed, his father appeared out of nowhere. He slapped Hakan across the face, shattering his dream of instant wealth. As they argued over the shirt, something far worse happened. A killer suddenly appeared. Gunshots echoed through the room. In the chaos, Hakan's best friend was arrested, and his father was gravely wounded. Hakan tried to rush his father to the emergency room, but his father refused. He insisted on going to a small clinic on Dong Street. He said it was the safest place. With no other choice, Hakan took him there. The doctor examined his father, then rushed him inside the clinic. Hakan was told to wait outside, but Hakan did not trust these people. He demanded answers, asked where they were taking his father. He ignored them calling his name. Finally, the doctor's daughter lost her patience. She led Hakan into the basement of the clinic. By the time they arrived, the bullet had already been removed, but it was too late. His father had lost too much blood. His body could no longer hold on. Hakan felt betrayed. He believed the clinic had tricked him. He demanded they call an ambulance. The doctor refused. Rage filled Hakan's body. Just as he was about to act, his father, barely alive, used his last strength and called out to him. Hakan was about to ask what had happened, but his father simply told him to trust these people. Moments later, his father died on the spot. Hakan cried like a child. He never imagined that simply trying to sell an antique could lead to his father's death. After calming down, the doctor finally spoke. He revealed the truth. The man who had just died was not Hakan's biological father. Both of them had belonged to an organization called the Loyalty Society. Their loyalty was to the current generation of descendants, Hakan himself. His mission was to destroy the Immortals who caused disasters in the world. Hakan was shocked. He doubted whether the doctor and his daughter were sane. Without further explanation, the doctor handed Hakan an ancient robe. It was a magical garment, crafted by the most powerful magicians. Once worn, it would make him invulnerable. Even though the robe had recognized its owner, Hakan could not believe he was expected to fight Immortals. When the doctor and his daughter were not paying attention, Hakan quietly left. But when he returned home, he saw a group of suspicious people gathered outside. Hakan did not dare to enter directly. He ran to a neighbor's house for safety. It was then he realized something terrifying. Since he had taken the magic cloak, someone had been coming to visit him every day. He understood he was in serious danger. Hakan snuck into his house. He found a gun in his father's box for self-defense. At that moment, he received a text message from his best friend asking to meet in an hour. When Hakan tried to call back, no one answered. A feeling of unease settled over him. Then, a dark shadow passed by the window. Hakan tensed. He pulled out his gun and stared at the door, heart pounding. Fortunately, it was Zainab, the doctor's daughter. Hakan exhaled in relief and asked why she had come. Zainab explained that she had come to take him to a safe place. With his current abilities, he would be crushed by the Immortals. Hakan knew he could not face her in strength. He made a deal. If she helped him find his best friend, he would agree to go with her. Following the instructions in the message, they headed to a park. Not long after, they saw Hakan's best friend sitting on a bench. Hakan rushed over, ignoring Zainab's warnings, but he didn't expect what he saw. His best friend had already died long ago. Overcome with grief, Hakan barely had time to react. Suddenly, someone attacked him with a green magic wand. Hakan was wearing the magic robe and was protected by Zainab. Thanks to her, he managed to escape safely. After these consecutive shocks, Hakan could no longer hold back his terrors. He believed he had caused the deaths of both his father and his best friend. He vowed to destroy the enemy completely to bring peace to their souls. When they returned to the base, the doctor revealed more about the Immortals. For over 1,000 years, these beings had caused disasters across the world. They spread disease, committed countless crimes, and hid among humans in plain sight. Hakan learned that his biological parents had also been brutally murdered by the Immortals. Now, he could only rely on 3 sacred treasures: the identity-distinguishing ring, the blade of justice to destroy souls, and the inviolable magic cloak. However, each of these items was held by different members of the loyal group. They could only be used in emergencies. Following the doctor's instructions, Hakan and Zainab arrived at the residence of one loyal member. Strangely, the place was dilapidated. All the windows were boarded up with wooden planks. They entered carefully. Inside, they quickly found a man lying on a sofa. He claimed to be the son of the caretaker. He explained that his mother had been driven insane after being attacked by an immortal 7 years ago. He had blocked all the doors to protect them. Under Zainab's threat, he reluctantly opened an iron door. He led them to see the caretaker, now mentally unstable. Seeing the woman in a bathtub, Hakan felt uneasy, but they didn't realize the man had secretly called someone while making tea. The crazy woman noticed the tattoo on Hakan's left chest. Suddenly, she spat a ring from her mouth. Hakan reached out to take it, but she stopped him. She warned that he was not her son and that they were in danger. Only then did they realize the truth. The man had brought a gun. Fortunately, Zainab was prepared. She restrained him from behind and confiscated his weapon. She intended to force him to reveal the mastermind behind the attacks. At that moment, the sound of a gun being loaded rang out from behind. The crazy woman fired without hesitation. She killed the man who had tormented her for 7 years. Then she urged Hakan and Zainab to escape quickly. Enemy reinforcements were on their way. Fortunately, Zainab destroyed the surveillance system in the room. She also collected every phone at the scene. By then, terrorists were already rushing in from below. To cover their escape, the woman locked the iron door from the inside. Before they left, she handed over the ring she had been protecting. But Zainab immediately noticed something was wrong. The ring had no gemstone. Without it, the ring could not work. The woman told them to find a man named Sinan. The ring and the gemstone had been kept separately by the two of them. The pursuers were getting closer. Zainab grabbed a chair and smashed the window. Then she slapped Hakan across the face. Without hesitation, they jumped out of the window. Terrorists outside opened fire instantly. Hakan threw himself in front of Zainab. He used his body to shield her. Zainab seized the moment. She returned fire and took down the attackers. Then she hijacked a terrorist car. They escaped at full speed. Halfway through the escape, Hakan's phone rang. It was the company he had interviewed with. They were calling to inform him that he had been hired. Hakan wanted to refuse, but Layla needed to meet a quota and begged him to accept. So, Hakan decided to go to the company. It would help him hide his identity. He did not expect what happened next. While handling the paperwork, Hakan overheard a phone call. It belonged to the head of security, a man named Mazar. During the call, Mazar received news that the ring had been stolen. Hakan immediately became suspicious. He wondered if Mazar was one of the Immortals. To uncover the truth, Hakan decided to stay close. He successfully joined the company as a security guard, and Mazar became his direct superior. When Hakan returned to the base, he informed everyone. He declared that he would uncover Mazar's true identity. Soon, an opportunity appeared. The company president hosted a large party. Hakan was assigned to handle security for the event. During the party, a man suddenly rushed in with a knife. Hakan reacted instantly. He subdued the assassin on the spot. His performance impressed everyone. His boss, Faisal, publicly praised him. Faisal announced Hakan's promotion. This would make his investigation much easier. At the same time, Zainab brought good news. She had found information about the gemstone on the ring. She wanted Hakan to go with her to retrieve it. But at that moment, Layla approached him. She had been drawn to Hakan after his performance. She wanted to talk with him. Zainab assumed Hakan would refuse. Instead, he told her to go ahead without him. Disappointed, Zainab returned to the clinic alone. The clinic was dark. Something felt wrong. She noticed her father's glasses lying in the hallway. An ominous feeling filled her heart. She slowly opened the door to the secret room. Her father was tied to a chair. Zainab immediately drew her gun. She moved forward carefully. Suddenly, a man rushed out. They began to fight. The attacker had no martial arts training. He quickly used a stun gun. Zainab collapsed unconscious. When she woke up, she was tied up as well. A curly-haired man was rummaging through the room. After a brief conversation, the truth was revealed. They were all from the same organization. They were members of the Loyalty Society. The man had only come because the caretaker's ring had recently been stolen. Once the misunderstanding was cleared, they began planning their next move. At that very moment, Hakan returned to the base. He was in high spirits. When Hakan learned that Burek was born in the same place as him, he immediately said he wanted to return to his hometown with Burek. The death of his biological parents was still a mystery. He hoped that returning would reveal some clues. The next afternoon, they arrived at the house where they were born. The place felt both strange and familiar to Hakan. Through stories from the neighbors, he pieced together what had happened 18 years ago. Hakan's father had once been the guardian god. After killing 6 immortals, he had removed his magic robe to wash the blood from his body. At that moment, the 7th immortal appeared. With his claws, he reached for Hakan's unarmed mother. Hakan's father panicked at the terrifying scream. In his fear, he forgot to take the sword of justice, but it was too late. His wife had been murdered by the immortal. In his endless pain, Hakan's father failed to notice the approaching enemy. Without the protection of the holy relic, he was killed immediately. When members of the Loyal Order arrived, they only found the cold bodies of Hakan's parents. Hakan was lucky to escape, hiding in the wardrobe. After listening to the old neighbor recount his background, Hakan felt immense sadness. But he also learned a vital lesson: never remove his magic cloak. Seeing Hakan so downcast, Burek decided to cheer him up. He took Hakan to a place where they could have some fun. After enjoying delicious food, Hakan's mood improved significantly. As they were eating, a reporter named Yasin approached. Yasin had investigated Hakan's company and discovered that it was hiding countless crimes. He revealed that Mazar was a real killer. Yasin hoped Hakan could help expose the crimes of Boss Faisal and Mazar. He handed Hakan a USB containing the evidence, but Hakan did not agree. He suspected Yasin of being a spy. He kept the USB and warned Yasin not to interfere. Back at the base, Hakan placed the USB on the table and informed the doctor. He was now certain that Mazar was one of the immortals. Hakan wanted to take revenge immediately, but the doctor insisted that the priority was to find the gem. If they failed, they would be doomed. The two argued fiercely over the issue. Seeing them leave in anger, the curly-haired man decided to act. He secretly took the USB and approached Mazar's house to gather news. He sneaked into Mazar's room to find more evidence proving Mazar's identity as an immortal. But Mazar was lying in wait. The poor curly-haired man was caught off guard and mercilessly defeated. Meanwhile, Hakan was chatting with Layla at the company. After their previous deep interactions, they had grown very close. Even when Hakan returned to the base, he did not notice that the curly-haired man had disappeared. In the end, the three agreed to continue searching for the remaining relics. The doctor immediately revealed information about the acts of justice. It was hidden in the Ottoman Art Museum, which was heavily guarded. Inside the museum, a girl was stealthily looking for prey. While no one was paying attention, she stole 13 phones in a row. Not long after, Zainab realized her own phone was missing from her pocket. She immediately screamed and called for help from the nearby security guards. The tourists instinctively checked their pockets. The girl realized the situation was getting dangerous, so she ran. Everyone chased after her. Although she was very agile, the guards eventually caught her. Everyone gathered to question the thief. Little did they know, this was all part of an elaborate plan. 2 days earlier, Hakan and Zainab had disguised themselves as tourists. They had come to the museum to survey and prepare for the dagger heist. They secretly recorded the door codes and mapped the surveillance cameras. Stealing the dagger from such a heavily guarded location was no easy task. According to the doctor's plan, they recruited a helper. It was a little girl who often wandered nearby. Not only did she know the museum's layout, she was also a member of the Loyal Society. The plan was precise. The girl and Zainab would distract the guards. Hakan would sneak into the gallery and use a mini bomb to break the bulletproof glass. He successfully retrieved the dagger of justice. In that moment, Hakan had fulfilled his duty as a guardian. But the museum alarm began to blare violently. Hakan had no choice but to run to the rooftop. A guard pursued him, firing relentlessly. Hakan jumped as high as he could, narrowly escaping. Meanwhile, Zainab and the girl were changing the car's license plate. After reuniting with Hakan, they all escaped successfully. The dagger of justice was now in their hands. Next, they needed to test whether Mazar was truly immortal. Upon returning to the company, Hakan noticed a man hiding. He decided to follow him. Hakan soon saw the man aiming a gun at his boss. It was Yasin, the reporter. His investigation had threatened the upper class, and the newspapers refused to publish his findings. Yasin had no choice but to confront Faisal directly. He wanted Faisal to admit the crimes he and Mazar had committed. Hakan immediately drew his gun. Both sides raised their weapons, neither willing to back down. Seeing Yasin grow increasingly agitated, Faisal asked Hakan to temporarily lower his gun. At that moment, Layla spotted a pen on the table. She seized it and stabbed Yasin in the back. Hakan quickly kicked Yasin and restrained him. This incident earned Hakan greater trust from Faisal. That same night, Faisal visited Mazar. He planned to let Hakan take over his position. Mazar was furious. He vowed revenge against Hakan. Not long after, Mazar seized an opportunity. While Hakan waited for his girlfriend to finish work, Mazar covered his face with a handkerchief soaked in anesthetic. At first, Hakan did not understand. He feared his true identity had been exposed. Then he realized the truth. Mazar was simply jealous. The tension escalated quickly. Mazar threatened to torture Hakan to death. He kicked Hakan hard, causing him to fall. The glass tea table behind Hakan shattered. In a critical moment, he quietly picked up a piece of broken glass. While Mazar remained angry, Hakan secretly cut the ropes binding his hands. Hakan grabbed Mazar's hem and used the piece of broken glass to stab him straight in the throat. He was shocked when Mazar fell. But if Mazar had died from a simple stab, he would not have been the seventh immortal. This meant, terrifyingly, that Hakan was now considered the murderer. The next morning, the police came to take Hakan in for questioning. As he turned around, he noticed his girlfriend's necklace glowing a bright blue. It was the gem from the holy ring they had been searching for. In that moment, Hakan realized the truth. The real immortal was Faisal. Seeing Hakan being taken away by the police, Faisal revealed his true identity to Leela. Since Hakan had started working, Faisal had suspected him of being a sworn enemy. He had not acted hastily but continuously tested Hakan through unexpected events. It was only after Mazar's sudden death that Faisal became certain of Hakan's identity. Now, Faisal intended to end it all. He needed Hakan's blood to revive his immortal comrade. Leela was stunned. She could not believe it. People who lived for 1,000 years, was this real? Seeing her disbelief, Faisal pulled out a dagger and stabbed Mazar's corpse in the neck. He explained that Hakan had intended to kill him, but had killed Mazar instead. Leela finally understood the truth. Her love for Hakan had been manipulated as part of Faisal's plan. Facing a powerful immortal, she was powerless. Not long after, Faisal went to the police station alone. After speaking with them briefly, Hakan was suddenly released. The two of them met in an alley. Hakan punched Faisal repeatedly in the face, trying to bring him down. But to Hakan's disappointment, Faisal was completely unharmed. In this world, only the blade of justice could injure him. When Hakan grew tired of beating him, Faisal calmly warned him. He demanded that Hakan bring the knife to his office within an hour. Otherwise, Leela's life would be in danger. Faisal also revealed a video showing Leela's kidnapping. Hakan was furious, but he had no choice. He hurried back to the base to retrieve the blade of justice, hidden in a secret corner. Then he ran as fast as he could to Faisal's office. When Hakan entered, Faisal was holding a gun. He demanded Hakan's blood and magic robe in exchange for Leela's life. Hakan hesitated. He knew that if he removed the magic robe, he would lose all his power and could not fight Faisal. Then Faisal opened fire on Leela. Seeing her bleeding uncontrollably, Hakan realized he had no other choice. With resolve, Hakan removed his shirt and placed his hand on his left chest. The symbols on the shirt seemed to come to life. A golden light radiated from it. He tore the legendary, ancient shirt off his body. Hakan held the blade of justice and let his blood flow into the small bottle Faisal had given him. Once Faisal had all three items in his hands, he slowly backed away with his gun. He needed to hurry to the cemetery to revive his immortal comrades. Faisal signaled his henchmen to kill Hakan and Zainab, but this gave Hakan the chance to counterattack desperately. Finally, the two of them managed to escape. Hakan returned to the base so the doctor could treat his girlfriend, but she had lost too much blood. With her last strength, she whispered to Hakan that Faisal had told her the night before that a single drop of immortal blood could save a human life. After saying this, she died in his arms. Hakan was heartbroken. He vowed to revive his girlfriend. Even if it was just a slim chance, he would make Faisal pay. Hakan went to Zainab, and together they quickly located the church where the immortal's body was kept. They armed themselves and rushed in. Faisal was preparing to revive his wife. Suddenly, a scream echoed. Hakan had arrived just in time. He shot and shattered the Holy Grail in Faisal's hands. Fresh blood poured onto the floor. Faisal realized years of planning were about to fail and became furious. The fight began. Without the magic cloak to protect him, Hakan was like an ant under Faisal's strength. He was quickly beaten. But Hakan suddenly began to laugh, confusing Faisal. With Zainab's help, he finally gained the upper hand. They did not notice the blood on the floor slowly flowing toward the immortal's coffin. The struggle continued. Zeynep picked up the blade of justice and smeared the blood on Hakan's girlfriend's mouth. Suddenly, a noise came from behind. Faisal turned to see his wife revived. He no longer wanted to fight and ran to retrieve her. But Hakan had no intention of letting him escape. As they prepared to continue their life-and-death battle, the great hall shook violently. The surrounding coffins opened one by one. The 5 immortals who had been killed by the guardian gods were all revived. Seeing this, Faisal fled with his wife. The battle between Hakan and the Immortals had only just begun. Part 1 of the movie ended here. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this recap, make sure to subscribe to Cinevoice. Hit the bell icon to stay updated and enjoy the journey.